Lake Powell, tucked cozily in the countryside of Bergfield, Maine, had been the residents' best-kept secret since the town was founded 200 years ago. It's a place of idyllic beauty and charm, keeping with the rest of the community. Here, everyone knows each other's name, and no one is too busy to stop and say hello. So when state police and FBI agents descended upon the lake on August 29, 1997, the town was turned upside down, and Lake Powell was no longer a secret. Just 2 years earlier, Bergfield was introduced to Abby Reynolds and Justin Amenta, a pair of entrepreneurs opening a car lot named Go Forth Auto. Amenta handled the finances, while Reynolds was in charge of sales. From the start, these two fit right in with the town of Bergfield.
Well, they would come in and sit on local town committee meetings. Go Forth Auto even sponsored the local Little League team. Everyone knew Justin and Abby.
In just under a year, the business partners established themselves as pillars in the community, seemingly friends with all. But things were not as they seemed, and the duo was involved with more than local affairs. Go Forth Auto was just a front for their real income, the sale and distribution of cocaine. Before their time in Bergfield, Justin had served 9 months for possession, with Abby getting probation. The two constantly honed their act, usually successfully conning towns for up to 4 years before being found out. People of Bergfield didn't know about their drug sales. The Federal Bureau of Investigation in Portland certainly did. While they were usually able to adopt new identities and jobs, police were quick to notice the two's questionable dealings. And it wasn't long until they were under surveillance.
It was quite obvious after a few days that Amenta was a pro. He's very careful and meticulous with his business dealings, and although those dealings are very suspicious to us, we never could get the hard evidence to bring him in. So we all decided that we're going to track his business partner Reynolds.
On the morning of June 2nd, 1997, their hunch paid off. At 3:08 a.m., Abby Reynolds' car was spotted driving erratically on a back road. After being pulled over, the officer spotted a plastic baggie in Reynolds' purse. That baggie contained cocaine. Holding a drug conviction over her head, agents were able to convince Reynolds to flip on her partner, who by all accounts was the mastermind of the operation. Her phones were tapped, and Reynolds was instructed to have Amenta clearly admit to the criminal behavior.
Someone knows something, Justin. I made one little mistake and the police were right there.
Oh, come on, you're just being paranoid. Nobody knows anything. The cop probably just thought you were cute.
What about all the other times? I'm getting really nervous and always seem to be around.
Calm down, you're just getting yourself worked up.
Well, what if we're gonna get busted?
That's not gonna happen. Quit acting crazy. Everything is fine.
But what if you're wrong?
In that conversation, Amenta never let his guard down, and it wasn't enough. The tape didn't hold enough evidence. We scheduled another meeting with Miss Reynolds the next day after the recordings, yet she failed to show.
With Reynolds a no-show at the meeting, authorities sent 2 officers to her home. After continued silence, a search was conducted that revealed nothing out of place. However, police took note that it seemed as if she had never come back home after leaving Go Forth Auto the day previous. Several hours later, on the other side of town, Rich Haggerty, a local resident who lived on Bergfield's very own hidden utopia, Lake Powell, saw something interesting. Haggerty spent his night, like many other nights, sitting on his porch smoking tobacco and listening to the breeze on the water. However, in the distance he noted a silhouetted man on a rowboat, struggling with what seemed to be a cooler. Haggerty, intrigued, paid close attention to the activity.
Every 2 seconds he was looking around as if to see if anybody was watching what he was doing. I was just sitting here in the dark, looking out at the lake. When he went to lift the cooler, it was obviously heavier than it should have been. Then he took out a cinder block and some chains, and I got very curious. So that's when I called the sheriff. Yep.
Half an hour later, long after the man in the rowboat was gone, police arrived on the scene to investigate the claim. Just 2 hours after the cooler was submerged, police, with the help of specially trained scuba divers, had acquired the evidence, and what laid within was not pretty. With the breaking of the chains, police unlocked the cooler to discover the gruesome remains of Abby Reynolds. She had been dismembered and stuffed in the oversized container. Police acted immediately.
His name is Justin Amenta. He is approximately 6'1", 200 pounds, with very short black hair. We believe Mr. Amenta to be on the run and extremely dangerous.
By the time anyone knew of Abby's death, Justin Amenta had long skipped town. The Goforth Auto Bank accounts, as well as Amenta's personal accounts, had been wiped clean. All told, he got away with $275,000. What happened between Abby Reynolds and Justin Amenta? Did he find out about the deal she made with authorities, or did he simply want to cut her out of the equation? With no clues to his whereabouts and no physical evidence or murder weapon, it's impossible to know for sure. What is known, however, with a murder this brutal and violent occurring in such a small, close-knit town, the ramifications are still felt. And Lake Powell, which once conveyed an aura of tranquility and stillness, now only had sentiments of horror and evil.